Grill Sergeant here. What's going on, guys? I just got back from the Houston Rodeo Cook-Off. Shout out to Uncle Steve Shake and the team there. Talk about next level barbecue. 200 to 300 teams competed against each other. It was insane. And today's video is going to be talking about how you can raise your barbecue up to the next level through injecting. Now, if you stay to the end of this video, I am going to share an easy way to make your own injection. But we are going to cover some injections that I recently just bought and went through that have blown my mind. After we find a meat we really like, then what we do is we start with seasonings, and there's different rubs. I mean, if you go to any grocery store or any barbecue shop, you're going to see a wall of different seasonings you can use. And along the way, you pick up some barbecue rubs and seasonings that work really, really well for you. But then there's only a few techniques that you can do to really raise the level of how good the barbecue is until you enter injecting. And injecting, even if it's a simple injection or a complex one, depending on what's in the injection, it raises the level of the barbecue flavor through the roof. It's like a night and day noticeable difference. The injector that I use on my show is from a company called Spitjack, and they are like the Mercedes-Benz of injectors. It's definitely not cheap, but this thing is just built like a tank and it gets the job done. What's cool about this system that they sell is you pretty much have a competition grade beefy injector, and this holds a ton of liquid, and then you have a dial here, and that actually lets you dial in every time you pull the handle how much liquid is going in to your meat. So whether you're doing chicken, you may want to dial it back a little bit. If you're doing it brisket, I set it to full blast and just have as much liquid as can go in there. Now, this kit comes with a bunch of needles, but realistically, 99% of the time, I'm actually going to be using the thinnest one. And then you can basically take this needle, put it in the injection, you're going to pull up on it, and now you're going to have this tube filled with the injection. You can have your dial back here. I usually set my dial on here. I usually set it to 5. And so every time I pull this trigger, it is slowly pushing all that liquid out. So how this works is you literally stick this into the center of the meat and you pretty much squeeze the handle once or twice. And sometimes if the meat can take more and you don't see injection squirting out, you can give it another squeeze, but usually you kind of work your way through the meat. If it's chicken breast, usually I'll get away with just 2 squirts in the center. If it's ribs, you can do kind of like the center of the ribs. If it's pork butt or brisket, as much injection as pork butt and brisket will take, I'll give it, and this thing helps deliver it. So yeah, this is the tool I use. Now there are other ones out there that look more of like a syringe. I do like that it's pretty much with one hand I can inject instead of using 2 hands. I will put a link in the description if you did want to check this out, and I'll also include some other ones that I think are pretty cool with varying price ranges or whatever, so you can check that out. And if you have the injector, then you look for injections. So these are some injections that I recently tried. My buddy Kent from Daddy Dutch Barbecue actually kind of turned me on to this line. I went down to Lone Star Barbecue shop in Helotes, Texas, near San Antonio, and they carried just a bunch of different injections, but they did carry the LC lineup here. So the first one that I tried out was LC's Barbecue. This is their foul play, and it brought my chicken up to the next level. The thing with chicken is you want to smoke it low and slow to help it get smoky and juicy, but if you do that, the skin gets really rubbery, and then if you smoke it at a higher temperature, the skin gets really nice and crispy, but then you don't really have that juiciness of smoking it low and slow. Well, after trying foul play, I can inject the chicken breast, I can season it up, I can put them on the smoker for about 375 degrees for about an hour, and hands down, the juiciest, crispiest chicken I've ever had Was so blown away. And what I really like about these LC comp rubs is a lot of times with injections, it's a lot of sodium. There's just a ton of salt. And if you're in the barbecue competition scene, you only get one bite. So if you're just only taking one bite and you're like, oh, that's not bad. If you have to eat a bunch of it, you're like, okay, it's overkill, it's too salty. What I like about these LC rubs is there's a bunch of flavor without that huge sodium kick that you can find with a lot of other injections. Next up is butthurt. Now, don't be butthurt that I'm talking about. But butthurt I did on pulled pork, and I had some friends come over. We dug into the pulled pork, and hands down, without even saucing the pulled pork up, it shredded so good, so easy, and just there was so much flavor in there. I mean, around the dinner table, we had all the kids and family members out, and it was silent because people were chowing down so good. The last one here, this is LC's Angry Bull. When it comes to brisket and putting a brisket into your smoker, they usually say garbage in, garbage out. What they mean by that is if you're putting in a brisket that, is just, oh, I found this, clearance for 20 or 30 bucks, you're not going to get a good brisket out of that smoker. But if you put in like a prime grade or a Wagyu level brisket in there, oh, you're going to get a really nice brisket. So if you put a good brisket in, you're going to get a good brisket out. If you put a bad or cheap brisket in, you're really not going to get much out of it. Well, this is where this completely changed my mind about that. So I was at Walmart with my wife. We were doing some shopping, and I found a $25 brisket at Walmart. I didn't expect much from that. I don't even think it was choice grade. This was just a cheap brisket. It had a ton of fat on it. It needed a lot of trimming, but I went ahead and I injected the crap out of it with Angry Bull. I seasoned it up with Uncle Steve's competition beef shake, and man, oh man, hands down, I gave that Walmart brisket a run for its money. I sliced into it, and it was juicy as could be and full of flavor. My aunt came into town, and I was like, hey, before you leave Texas, you're gonna have to try some Texas brisket. And man, oh man, she was like, this brisket is out of this world. And usually I'd have to go and buy a $70 to $80 brisket to get the flavor and juiciness and tenderness of what I got out of a $25 Walmart brisket, injecting it. LC has me sold. A lot of competition pitmasters, they use this LC lineup. These are the people that are winning first place and grand champions. So if it's good enough for them, definitely good enough for us. Now the competition pitmasters, they'll use this and a barrage of other things into their injection to make their barbecue next level. And I find with backyard barbecue, it's really not that necessary. Now what works for me when using these is literally just getting a glass Pyrex, and I'll literally put about 1/4 a cup into here. I usually fill it up to the 1/4 line, and then I'll fill some water up to the 1 cup, and I'll stir it up with a spoon, and that's it. If you like a little bit stronger flavor, you can add a little bit more seasoning, but to me, it was just really good. Now, because you stayed to the end of this video, I'm gonna show you a trick that you can do, and you can make your own injection with your favorite barbecue rub. So for me, I have Uncle Steve's Competition Pig Shake. If I'm doing pulled pork or I'm doing ribs, it's gonna be this on it. This is Daddy Dutch approved, and you know if Kent gives the thumbs up, it's gonna be good. Uncle Steve gave me a little hat tip on how you can actually make your own injection, and it's by using this, a coffee grinder. Now I'll leave a link in the description so you can check this out, but what's cool about this is you can put your rub in here, whatever rub you're using, and then you can set it to fine, and you hit the power button. This thing will start chopping up and blending up the coarse seasoning and get it to a very fine powder. Then you can take that powder, put it in your glass bowl, add some water in, and voila, you just made your own custom injection. And if you had any injection tips or tricks you want to share, please do leave a comment in the comment section. What I like about this channel and this community is a lot of people share their recipes, tips, and tricks in the comment section. So do check that out. If you are looking to level up your game as far as backyard brisket, ribs, pulled pork, do consider subscribing to this channel because, man, all we do here is barbecue 365. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Grill Sergeant out. Cheers, guys.